This week's portion, Va'era, focuses on 7 of the 10 plagues. Moses is finally convinced by God to become the leader of the people, to go back from Mount Sinai, where Moses experiences God at the burning bush, to go back to Egypt to bring his people out of Egyptian bondage. And so the process begins with Moses' encounters with Pharaoh and the plagues that are wrought by God on Israel's benefit in order to slowly convince Pharaoh that Pharaoh is not in control of the world, but God is, and that Pharaoh should let the people go. The question has been debated over the centuries, and most recently a few years ago by Rabbi David Wolpe in a sermon on Passover, as to whether there is a historical basis for the plagues themselves and for the exodus from Egypt. I agree with Rabbi Wolpe that it doesn't matter really whether these events occurred historically or not. What matters is that they are in the Torah and they have become part of Jewish identity and Jewish tradition. It is part of who we are as a people, and it's part of our story of how we got out of Egypt and became a nation. And so that also reflects the bigger lesson of how we perceive events that happen in our lives. If we are able to step back after an event occurs, we can comment about it and evaluate and say that perhaps God has had a hand in those events, and perhaps not. It's all a matter of our perception of reality. Does it matter whether the reality happened according to laws of science and nature and history, or does it matter how we understand those events to occur? Certainly in Jewish tradition, what matters is how we have perceived events over the centuries and how we see God in the everyday. Shabbat Shalom.